You often hear in television that people say, and now somebody who needs no introduction. I'm not going to say that now. I'm going to say, and now somebody who has demanded no introduction. Let me introduce you to Madi Sharma.
A woman is like a tea bag. She doesn't know her own strength until she's dropped in hot water. In your heads, I want you to rate yourself out of 10 on your ability to make change, either in your own communities, within your family, within the UK, within Europe, or even within the world. What is your ability to make change? This single point. My Twitter handle is Victim to Changemaker, and I want to share with you why. At the age of 16, my dad told me that business was no place for a woman. All Indians are going to be doctors, dentists or pharmacists, so I got packed off to Portsmouth Polytechnic. At the age of 19, I had an arranged marriage. I arranged it because my parents didn't agree with my choice. And basically because I'd dropped out of university to get married. At the age of 23, I was told that I was over-enthusiastic for my job. How can anybody be over-enthusiastic for a job, let alone it was a banking job? Sorry, Royal Bank of Scotland, it wasn't Royal Bank of Scotland. At the age of 28, I was told that I would never succeed in anything that I wanted to do because I was a woman. That is by my now ex-husband. Yes! And the reason he's my ex-husband is because he put me on the floor and he kicked me to bits. And for 2 days, I am lying on the floor. For the whole of my life, people had told me that I couldn't do. I wasn't worth anything. I had no qualifications. I had no skills. You're just a woman. Now, you're either going to lie there as a victim and be a victim for the rest of your life, or you're going to make a change. And whilst I would never wish that on anybody else, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because out of the chrysalis came the beautiful butterfly. I have no qualifications, no skills, no competences that are recognised in any formal way. I had absolutely no money. I was in poverty. I had 2 children, so I was a single parent also. I'm Asian, I'm female. As somebody said earlier, doesn't get any worse than this. Apart from you're also a survivor of domestic violence and you have absolutely no confidence whatsoever. And I started making samosas in my kitchen at home. And I made 4, because that's all I had the money for. And you go out and you sell those 4. And you bring the money back in and you make 8. And you make 16 and 32 and 64. Until 8 years later, we were manufacturing 10,000 products a week. We went from my kitchen at home to 2 factories, both in regeneration areas. We went from just me to 35 staff, every single one of my staff long-term unemployed. Because they were like me. They had been written off by society and were on the scrap heap. And yet they were the most talented people that I could ever have wished to work for me. I have never, ever employed anybody on a CV. I don't care what qualifications people have got or skills. I just want people who want to work. I am actively campaigning at the minute to remove the words experience required from job adverts. It's discriminatory to women and it's discriminatory to young people. People who want to work should be given a job, and it's a shame that we are not valuing our human capital. I was accredited with being Asian Woman of Achievement and the UK's Best Boss. And I was the fastest company to pass Investors in People. And then, yes, I got my second kicking because I failed in business. It wasn't my fault, although we have a no-blame culture in my company, so everything is my fault. But I was given an advisor from a UK government department who was a disqualified director. Needless to say, long story, put it to bed, gone away now. 8 years of my life, I learnt loads. So what do? Are you going to give up? No. Pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and off we go again. I now run the Madi group. Madi stands for Make a Difference Ideas. If I don't make a difference, my life has been wasted. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning to fly up here, and I arrived yesterday at 11 o'clock at night from Istanbul into London. I am going back to London tonight at 4:30 from here, 6:30 from Glasgow Airport. I'll land at 7:30, and then I have to drive home to Nottingham. I'll be 11 o'clock before I go home. Please, somebody say I'm going to make a difference to somebody's life in the room. The Madi group. Well, basically, what happened with Madi is I realised that if Versace and Gucci could brand their names, why couldn't I? So I did. My name is a registered trademark. It has an Om, the Hindu sign across the top of it, not because I'm pushing Hinduism, but because I'm trying to be ethical in everything that I do, so it's a reminder to me to be ethical in everything I do. Because take it from the Tibetans, business with ethics, ethics with business. We need to change the business model also. The brand of your company is the DNA of your company, so everything you stand for is in your brand. Do not destroy it and do not destroy your principles. Stand up for what you believe in. The Madi Group, I'm not going to go through the 8 international companies that I run, but basically we're a business broker. I'm an agent across the world. It's about the people I know and who's buying what and where and putting them together. That is my profitable company. And from that, we have not-for-profit companies and we have social enterprises. They look at education, they look at supporting women. And from that, we also have NGOs and think tanks that support women going through domestic violence, that support youth entrepreneurship, that support entrepreneurship in general. Because look what entrepreneurship has done for me. It has really empowered me. It has given me financial independence, and most of all, it's given me choices. So please bear in mind the value of entrepreneurship. One of my companies, well, in fact, all of the companies, none of the companies, have we used a business plan for. And I know all the academics and all the business advisors are sitting in this room going, she is not going to say this. She is going to say this. There is not a successful business person in the world who started their business with a business plan. Business plans are for accessing finance. And if you've started your business to access finance, you've started your business for the wrong reason. One of the first questions the business plan asks you is, where is your office? Where is my office? I run 8 international companies. I don't have an office. My office is a British Airways lounge. I get free coffee, free food, and they have no idea how much paper is going through that printer. Do not take on overheads that you do not need. Do business smartly. The other thing a business plan asks you is, where will you be in 5 years' time? In 5 years' time, I will be supplying the retailers and the airlines. So in order to do that, I need lorries, I need factories, I need equipment, I need staff, I need training. You've already talked yourself into £5 million worth of spend and you haven't made one samosa. Please think about it logically. Prove to the investors, prove to the bank that you have a product that is worth selling. By the way, where is my PA based? My PA is based in Delhi. My largest client is based in the US. There are no borders, there are no boundaries. Import, export, it's all the same thing. Just get on and do it. Absolutely start, because if you don't start, you will regret it. Business is not done from behind a desk. Please remember that. It's really important. So, as one of the things that I do is the corporate social responsibility, which I have now retermed community social responsibility, because I am not a big company with corporate values that mean I have to market what I'm doing and put it in an annual report. I'm doing what I'm doing for the sake of the community and social change. So, go out, share your message about what you're doing and involve others in doing it. As part of doing that, the government invited me to sit on some task forces, SMEs, women's groups, this sort of stuff. And I got appointed to a think tank in Brussels, not think tank, the European Economic and Social Committee, which looks after civil society. And there I represent the UK and I represent small businesses and real entrepreneurs. Women, corporate social responsibility, diversity, they're all the things that I look at. And one of the things that we do look at is entrepreneurship. I want to tell you why entrepreneurship is so important beyond what it's done to me. If I give you £1 and you give me £1, we each have £1. Agreed? If I give you one idea and you give me one idea, we each have 2 ideas. There are 7 billion people on this planet. If each person only has one idea and that one idea is turned into an action, how many of those ideas could solve the global problems that we currently have? Climate change, food security, inequalities. Come on, we could resolve poverty if we could just turn those ideas into actions. And that's what my goal is in life. To turn 7 billion ideas into action. And yes, I am almost 50. I have 25 years left on the planet and I will do it. The other thing that we do at the European Economic and Social Committee, so we've taken the value of entrepreneurship and what it is, and then I've also said, okay, now we want something special for women. We want women to be considered at least as valuable entrepreneurs, but not just because we're women, but because, exactly as Julie has already said, because it's an economic imperative. Have you got the other slide? Okay, so we wrote a document on the economic imperative of female entrepreneurs, and we asked for 4 things. Now, surprisingly, you're going to think, we've already heard those 4 things. Yes, they're the exact same things that were put into the US in 1988, which doubled the number of female entrepreneurs across 10 years. Can we have them in the European Union? No, because we're not going to do any more policy, even if we know it makes a difference. We're asking for 4 pieces of policy. 1, within the Ministry of Economy, because business is about economy. Whether it's business with men or business with women, it's about the economy. And we want a minister for women business ownership within that ministry. Why? Here, let me give you an example. There are 900 people in the European Commission who look after enterprise and industry. 10 of those 900 people look after SMEs, small to medium-sized enterprises. Small to medium-sized enterprises, 98% of the backbone of the economy is SMEs, being looked after by 10 people. How many look after female entrepreneurs? 1. We have to change this. So we need a minister within the economy to say, yes, we do. And what we're doing at European level, we will also ask for at national level. We want a director also to look at all the policies that the European Union makes and say, is this going to affect women? I'll just give you one quick example, social policy. So we have been really lucky that the European Commission has decided that as entrepreneurs, So great, one step forward. But in order to take maternity pay, you've got to have 18 weeks out of the office. Whose business can close for 18 weeks? And you know what the Commission's answer is? Well, you just put in a manager. Well, I'm sorry, if that manager's good enough to be running my business, they'd be running their own business. They don't understand. So we need a director who can look at all the different kinds of policies, infrastructure, transport, ICT, everything. We want data collection because I can tell you that what were Julie's figures? $1.3 trillion worth of turnover from female-owned businesses, 7.8 million people employed. Have we got those statistics for Europe? No, we haven't. So what does that mean? It means we can't prove that there is inequality going on. We can't prove where the money is going and that it might be being misdirected. So we need to collect the data. And that's another thing that we're asking for. And of course, we're also asking for gender legislation to be put in place. Now, the European Commission has told me, no, Madi, you're not having your pieces of policy. But the European Union has a great piece of policy as part of the treaty called a European Citizens Initiative. This means that if I can collect 1 million signatures from at least 7 different member states, so that's 1 million in total, from at least 7 different member states, the European Commission and the European Parliament have to look at my document. So, I want to ask you to follow Act for Growth. We will be writing to you to say, please sign the document because we need your signatures. We need to ask you to roll it out to your networks to also please ask other people to sign, men and women, because remember this is an economic issue. It will bring growth to the country and to the European Union. So please, when you get the details, please make sure you sign. It's really important. That will be the only one thing I'm asking for from you today. I am the most successful person in the world. I have no money, I'll be completely honest, but I am the most successful person in the world. I wouldn't change my life with anybody else on this planet. It's my objective to get as many people as possible to say exactly the same thing. Gandhi said, you must be the change you want to see. Madi says, you must be the change you want to see. No excuses. Thank you.